I proudly present to you a Geometry Dash building video. I spent 100 hours on my easy demon, Glorious Fortress. Turns out 100 hours is kind of a lot. Please subscribe. Our journey starts with a prologue. I'd already made some gameplay, but I wasn't really feeling it. This first part's too fast and everything felt a little weird to play. And so that's where our story begins. A fresh new start for a big idea. A glorious morning, if you will. It's just about time to get up and get ready, laying the foundations for our journey to come. This is Glorious Morning by Waterflame. This is gonna be an easy demon. That's what I got so far. I got the first bit. You can see here, it starts out a lot slower. Can't wait to see this level finished next week. Yeah, that's totally gonna happen. I forgot to record me building the first couple parts of this layout, but I reworked this ship as well. Some dangerous slopes make for interesting structures that would totally not be annoying to decorate later. Moving on to the wave, I fixed a big problem that the original layout had. In that version, you had to click these dash orbs in the middle of a corridor, which just felt really awkward. In the new one, you click them at the start and some teleport portals keep you centered after you click. Let's do this whole setup again. Hopefully the portal doesn't teleport. Yep, it goes back down there, thank you. That's exactly what I wanted, as a matter of fact. That's why I didn't do that. In the next part, my goal was to introduce a little thing called buffering to new players. If you click before an orb you can hold, and you'll still use the orb once you touch it. I wanted to force the player into tight, formidable gaps, forcing them to buffer and creating a sense of power and badassery. This part went through several reworks. Turns out it's not really that easy to pull off, but that was enough for day 1, at a humble 4 hours of work. On day 2, I reworked the wave, again, and then reworked the buffer part for the first of many times, recording with a glorious 3 pixels. After that, it was finally on to something new. Make a dual spider. One of them is big and the other one's small. You have to switch sides so the smaller one fits into the smaller gap. No, I didn't steal this idea from Biru, I would never. And with a cool ship gimmick and a couple more buffers, that would just about do it for day 2, bringing this video ever closer. Anyway, we're working on the ball here now, so... You heard what I said. For day 3, I started with this ball part, incorporating some portals like the ones in Cycles. And for the next part, I went with a ship, except that was stupid and it didn't really fit the song, so I used a spider instead. Now that's what I call sync. Next, I switched to a UFO. I had a cool idea for a gimmick with this part, the spike pillars that bounce out at the player. That was giving me some real trouble though, so I called it good for day 3, bringing me to 7.5 hours. And so I spent most of day 4 off stream, figuring out how to make any of this work. And honestly, I'm really happy with what I came up with. After that, I built this wave and that was it for day 4. Almost 10% there. So I finished this part. This was a little bit of a headache to do, so I did it off stream. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this UFO. This is pretty fun. One of the later parts in this level was going to be a vast open field with a towering fortress in the distance. I made some open, bouncy, and exciting gameplay for what would be that part. Finally, this dash orb launches you high up into the sky for the climax of the level. I made small floating platforms that you have to land on as the robot mode, and moved on to a final wave with floating machines and gears. I don't know why, but I decided this level should have some steampunk bits for some reason. Steampunk's cool. After this wave, one last dash orb will send you down into the final cube. Mystery fills the air as you enter this protected corridor. Making this part a duel and hiding the second icon up here lets me force the cube into a fixed camera, increasing the tension. How spooky. With this level's layout completely built, I ended day 5 with around 13 hours of work. Day 6, I mostly fixed things that my patrons noticed, which included reworking this entire dual cube. Again, it never ends. Yeah, we don't talk about day 7, trust me, we just don't. But with the layout done, it was time to get some people on to give it a try.
Hi, hello, hi. Hi, I'm Alan, and this is the most anticipated and least anticipated video collab of all time.
Whoa! It's not Woolsey. Playing Jam Defend, not Jam Attacks, new level.
This is an easy demon I'm working on.
my god.
And it's like, it's supposed to be like a starter easy demon.
See, this is like my preferred difficulty for the most part, so it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, you're the easy demon guy.
I like this. I noticed that you're leaving a lot of space at the top and bottom, and that excites me because I know that there's going to be like an insane like surrounding here. Oh, okay, I got you.
We got the Devon gimmick.
Oh.
Secret way,
okay.
secret way.
Secret way, oh my god. I like that dash orb. That dash orb gimmick's cool.
I really tried to play around with gimmicks in this level.
Oh, I have no clip on. That's why.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah, same.
Oh, dude, I love spiders like this. Oh, mind games. Okay, gotcha.
Oh?
See, this is the funny part about me having a goofy refresh rate thing.
What refresh rate are you?
280. That's why I'm the resident playtester of every level ever, because no one plays 280 except for me. Oh, what?
Wait, oh, can you like clip through that block? Maybe I'll have to move that up a little bit more.
Oh, you can, yeah. You can totally go up there.
Yeah, I'll fix that. This is why you get playtesters, everyone.
I'll see if you can do it with the other ones, yep.
Where am I going here? Am I using the edge of this block at the top, or am I hitting that block?
Oh,
there?
yeah, I need to fix that. Like, put a spike at the end.
Okay, gotcha.
We got something.
So does that staircase like kill you if you go up? Because it looks like to me that you could technically like step up it, right?
On like some of them you can. You're not supposed to be able to. I need to adjust that.
Okay, gotcha.
Shardscapes? Okay, no.
If Shardscapes was level 1.
Yeah. I do like the robo parts though. The robo parts are fun because they're like, you have so much room, but it's also not just like full holes or taps. I do like this though. I like how you have some really tight looking gaps in there, but it's all stuff like, you know, like in the wave part, it was where there was a portal, or like, you know, like this, it's always where you fall. It has like a really narrow platform. You feel like you're playing a really hard level and you're doing something really cool, but it's actually not that hard.
And that's like an element of like game design that I really like. Just make the player feel a lot more powerful than they are. It just feels good.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's cool. I really like that.
Boom, 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 boom. Ah! Okay, that's neat. I enjoy.
You're doing a very good job of sight reading this.
Oh, it's just very well mapped out for me, I gotta say.
Oh, you got the coin. GG.
That was a complete accident. This level's fun though, I like it. I'm definitely gonna beat that when you finish it.
Epic. You'll make a video on it and get 1 million views.
Yeah. I'll make a video beating one easy demon.
You'll be right up there with accurate hitboxes.
Oh god. Oh, I died. Oh no. You would probably get some like weird comments if I were to just like die on your channel, but
yeah,
know.
I feel like people wouldn't like that.
You never know. Finally, thank you for ridding the world of Aeon Air. Dude. Oh, oops.
Yeah, I might nerf those jumps a little.
Oh, it worked fantastic. I'm just bad at it.
Suck at the game. Come on, man. Get better.
Yeah.
Beat a top one already.
Wait, I want top comment. Boom.
The most swag. Obviously, the most swag gets to have the most likes.
Alright, so you wanted a fake bye, right?
Yeah.
Bye-bye!
Goodbye. This is how
Is that good
humans say goodbye. Yeah. Is that good enough?
Thanks to all the cool people for playing the level. There was a lot more footage, but I don't want to make this an hour-long special. Hopefully, famous person give you dopamine. Anyway, with that all done, day 8 was spent on Spit and Shine, fixing up the layout into its final state. This would be my final day preparing for the journey ahead, adding up to 20 hours of work. And now, as we head out on our path, it's time for the hard part.
I'm just gonna get started with whatever ideas I have.
Is what I should have said if I had any. I'll be blunt, my ideas for this level's decoration didn't really exist at all. And a normal person might have, you know, given up, spent their time on something actually worthwhile. But I don't play like that. Giving up is for nerds, and so what do you do when the path ahead is shrouded in darkness? Wait for the sun to rise? No, obviously you run around aimlessly like a goddamn headless chicken. The amount of tries it took me to get this part right is not something I'm proud of. Which leads me to my Hall of Failure, where I keep all my failed attempts at this specific part. No, that's not unhealthy behavior, shut up. Version 1. I started off with a more slick look, a bit of a Green Hill Zone vibe. With a little bit of tweaking, it looked really clean. A little too clean, and it didn't really fit the vibe I wanted. For version 2, I spiced things up with the rotating grass blades. They create a pretty cool effect. I used this effect all the way back in 2018 in my debut level, Autumn Travel. Small problem though, it uses like a billion groups. Ignoring that, I placed down some broken fence posts to try and add some depth. This new version might have been a little heavy on groups, but hey, at least it looked good. I'm just kidding, this is actual trash. So what do we do then to make this part work? And trust me, I wanted to find that out just as much as anyone else. So I turned to some other levels I like for inspiration. The first level I turned to was Air Supply by Overdefo, an absolute classic. I really like the way these mountains look with the default rock tiles, so I tried doing something similar, and well, at least I tried. All things considered though, this is getting progressively less terrible. For attempt 4, I tried my hand at some good old parallax. That effect you see where further things move slower and closer things move faster. And honestly, I don't hate this. I still like the idea of having mountains in the background, so I tried a simpler design. God, no, never mind, this would still look terrible even with more than 3 frames a second. The other problem is that this level doesn't have a continuous ground, so this parallax wouldn't even work in the first place. But man, I've been rambling for way too long. Would you look at that, the sun's coming up. Damn, that's pretty. Kinda reminds me of this gradient I made. I might have been dragged kicking and screaming throughout this entire process, but it looks like it might finally be paying off. But with that said, after working on this version for a good bit of time, it still wasn't quite there. But for the first time, it was finally somewhere. And maybe, just maybe, as the sun started to rise, maybe I was onto something. Just wish it didn't take me 12 hours to get there. The first thing I did day 11 was delete this stuff in the foreground. It was pretty ugly. Also, we got that little gem guy for that sweet branding. Hope you enjoyed all 4 pixels of him. The background felt pretty empty, so I got to work on a windmill. We love ripping off Jonathan GD, but mine's better. I Google searched rustic windmill images. Why are the only good ones Minecraft? On days 12 and 13, I tried mixing in these giant brick structures with the grass, but they looked kinda bad, so I got rid of them, and on day 14, replaced them with more grass. So in the layout for this part right here, there's some more open bits with these floating slabs. I decorated these a little bit different for that good old variety. Hey, look, Parallax, he did the thing. This is the point where I'd say this part finally had a clear identity. And it only took a measly 27 hours to get here, if you don't count the 20 hours on the layout. On days 15 and 16, I pretty much just extended what I had. I can't lie, it feels good to not reinvent the wheel 500 times now. I also made a saw blade. That was worth putting in my notes. But day 17 was far more interesting. My windmill was lonely and needed a friend, so I made this log house to help him out.
I'm going through a lot to show you guys this. Hey, it worked. This is the house I used. You can probably see the resemblance a little bit. No one ever uses references. That's just a me thing. It's something I invented, actually.
Another thing I invented is a house on stilts. I'm lazy, okay? What do you want from me? Also, never forget the Wubba Duck. That would be an unforgivable sin. Anyway, we are almost at 60 hours. Damn, day 18 was just more grind work. Also, those hours are definitely not right. I did not stream for over 7 hours. Sorry, pretend you didn't see that. Day 19 was an interesting one.
Talkative but so calm at the same time. You know, that's what I want to go for. It's always a lot more natural for me to be a little more chill, not try to be like super high energy all the time. Whoa, guys! Whoa, look at this! Look at... Whoa! Look at me place... You're never gonna believe what happens next. I'm gonna place another one! What? No, wait, do it again! Guys. I did it again? I don't know how you're supposed to be like really wild and crazy in a creating stream because it's inherently like a boring, repetitive task.
Anyway, here's a cool wall I made. First part's done, bringing me to 70 hours of work. But no, yeah, this stream was a fun one.
Yo, Reed, I know you wanted to go for best boss fight of 2023 with Tarspit, but you might have some competition, I'm just saying.
What wasn't fun was starting on the next part. I don't know if you could tell, but I have a bit of a problem starting parts. Just, like, you might get the sense if you're paying close attention. Fortunately, though, it wasn't nearly as bad this time. Day 20 was spent decorating these ship structures. They did not look good. Oh well, I'll deal with that later. For day 21, I mostly worked on the stained glass windows. You know, my favorite part of all this definitely has to be how I'm not already recycling ideas from my other levels. Also, good news, I went back and fixed my block design. I did this by making it look even worse. It's a new strategy I'm trying out. Got some sense in me day 22 and finally made these not look like garbage. Words cannot describe how much better these look. Actually, they can. These look a lot better, and would you look at that? Right on time, it's my favorite person to steal ideas from. Mpika's a close second. Yoraid gave me the suggestion of having parts of this wall stick further back to help break things up, and no, yeah, that definitely worked. It's almost like this guy's a famous creator or something. Alright, we better pick up the pace. We're at 78 hours already, all of them completely legit. Even now, the walls still felt kinda flat, so I added these little bumps, and they work for some reason. I made some other effects and did a bit of block design, but my internet decided there isn't a meaning in life, so I ended day 23 early. Day 24 was spent on little atmospheric details. Stuff like the spinning glow darkening the screen's edge, and these overgrown vines add a lot of personality.
Yeah, it's got a nice vibe to it.
But while I've definitely got this ship part down, I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted to do for this wave. I knew I wanted the background to stay the same, but the foreground needed some changing up. Fortunately for me, just jumping in and improvising actually worked this time. On day 25, I started off with a base of color, added some outlines with mega hacks show hitboxes on to make sure that none of them were randomly flipped. After that, it was the detail work, which is a lot easier to do when you have a good base to work off of. I was gonna end it there, but frickin' EVW rated me. Silly Eric. So I came up with this cool, whatever this thing is that took me way too long to make. On day 26, I made some more variations so this wouldn't end up like a 1.8 Viprin level. I was pretty tired this day, so I just did a little block design and called it quits. But even with my snail's pace, those hours are racking up. Anyway, gotta start off strong for the stream on day 26.
Oh god, what the hell was that? Wait, hold up. That is something out of a nightmare.
Subpixels level requests sure are. Anyway, I made some ground spikes. They're cool. Using a long slope like this, you can make them extra tall. Added some vines and made everything bob around and pulse. Now that's energy. Subtle, but it adds a lot.
Alright, I don't know how to build. I don't know how to make levels. That's a common misconception, is that people think I know how to make levels, and I have no fucking clue how to do that.
On day 28, I didn't really have a plan, but I added bits and bobs to help tie things together. I wanted to add in an element of technology, like this fortress is being preserved by future generations. Why yes, this level was inspired by Mumbo Jumbo's Hermitcraft Season 7 base, how could you tell? I didn't do much else, but I did make more parallax.
You gotta go to bed now, have a good time in bed, I hope. That came out wrong.
And with that all done, I'd say this wave is finished. I have about 7 hours left for the next part before this video's over. And with the sun finally risen, I confidently walked right into the final part of this video. This level still has a lot more stuff that needs to be done.
Anyway, this is where I want to start introducing some wooden structures, and I want to have them be held up by like metal beams. Very airy sound with the flute. I want to have an open sky in the background. Have it be like super whimsical.
With an air of whimsy and wonder, I got to work on this final part. Like I mentioned near the beginning of this video, I wanted to tie in a steampunk vibe to certain parts of this level. That's kind of the direction I wanted to take this futuristic technology. It just fits the song. About 5 hours left and on to day 30. I continued on the block design, adding in some things like these gears. Overall, mostly just grind work. With 3 hours left, it's on to day 31. Okay, so for some reason this day recorded at about 2 frames a minute. What you're seeing here is 16 times speed. Fortunately, it seemed to kinda sort itself out near the end. I made a poofy cloud background and a foreground too for that sweet, sweet depth. My footage never fully fixed itself, so I'll show you some from the beginning of the next stream. And speaking of that stream, day 32 would be my final day before hitting 100 hours. Right now I'm at a ripe 98. Also, sorry in advance, my mic kinda crapped itself for this stream, but I wanted to share some moments anyway, considering it's the final stream.
I'm about to hit 100 hours on this project, and I'm only like 30% through.
I added some connector beams in the background, holding up the floating gameplay. I've done this before, and it's something I'd recommend as it makes your level feel a lot more grounded.
That looks cool. I like that. That's good.
Next, I got to work on giving each structure its own group and having them move on and off the screen. Where this part felt kinda static before, this helps a lot with the whimsical feel.
Yeah, that adds a lot of energy. I like that.
Other than just touching up some other bits and pieces, that was it for day 32. 100 hours have been reached.
There we are. There it is. We're past the 100-hour mark. This level's taken a bit. Isn't the biggest project I've ever done. It's still a lot.
And so my path may have been filled with obstacles, and this wasn't the smoothest ride all the way through. But in the end, we still got there. There is definitely a lot left to do in this level, and my journey's just begun. But with the sun all the way up and a clear path ahead, now it's just a matter of putting in the work. Look forward to the future episodes in this series. I think that they will be glorious. For now, here's a little preview.